UFC Fight Night Smith versus Spann, full card prediction, 15 fights on the entire fight card. The main event, a 5-round light heavyweight fight with Ryan Superman Spann and Anthony Lionheart Smith. Amazing main event right there. The co-main event, Ian Cutela and Devin Clark in the light heavyweight division as well. Nicolas and Cameron Van Camp in the lightweight division. A short notice fight because Jim Miller did test positive for COVID-19, I believe only 2 days ago. But now we're going to have Nicolas and Cameron Van Camp. We got Mandy Bowman and Ariane Lipsy. Originally, it was supposed to happen 2 weeks ago, but it's now going to happen on this fight card right there in the women's flyweight division. Armin Yukian and Carissa Jagos in the lightweight division. Joaquin Buckley and Antonio Arroyo in the middleweight division. Tafon Chukwi and Mike Rodriguez in the light heavyweight division. Penny Kianzad and Raquel Pennington in the women's bantamweight division. Nate Maness and Tony Gravely in the bantamweight division. Dakota Bush and Zhurong in the lightweight division. Now, Zhurong and Dakota Bush, they're both pretty big fighters for the lightweight division. Zhurong just looks very, very big. I looked at a picture of him and Dustin Poirier standing neck and neck, both fighters in the lightweight division. Zhurong looked a lot bigger than Dustin Poirier. I don't know if it was just a weird angle that picture was taken, but Zhurong is a very, very big lightweight. We have Montel Jackson, JP Buys, Sarah Alpar, and Aaron Blankfield in the women's flyweight division, or Blankfield, not too sure how to say that last name. Impa Gazanganai and Carlson Harris in the welterweight division. Gustavo Lopez and Haley Alateng in the bantamweight division, and Emily Whitmire and Hannah Goldie in the women's flyweight division. But it's a very big fight card. We don't necessarily get a lot of cards that have 15 fights because, of course, there are a lot of fights that do get canceled from most of these UFC Fight Night cards. Like the last fight card with Brunson and Till had 9 fights on the entire fight card originally. I mean, look at all these cancellations right there. We're just getting very, very lucky that this Smith versus Spann fight card has not gotten too many fight cancellations. So I might jinx it. There's probably going to be a couple new fight cancellations in the next couple of days. That's just what's been happening for the UFC, but I'm hoping not. I'm hoping we do get all 15 of these amazing fights. Yeah, let's just go on and do our prediction because this is going to be a very good fight card. So let's get into the first fight right here. Emily Whitmire and Hannah Goldie on short notice for UFC Fight Night Smith versus Spann. The fight that was originally supposed to happen was Emily Whitmire and Corey McKenna. I'm going to say right now, I probably would have went Corey McKenna to win the fight by submission in the first or second round, something like that. But now we have a much closer fight in Hannah Goldie and Emily Whitmire, which is a 50-50 fight on the betting odds, with Emily Whitmire as a very slight favorite, with the Tapology predictions actually favoring the short notice fighter in Hannah Goldie, who, to be quite honest, has not looked good at all inside the UFC, with 0 wins and 2 losses to Miranda Granger and Diana Belbita, both by unanimous decision. Emily Whitmire with 4 wins and 4 losses also hasn't done too good. She got 1 decision and 1 submission win, and every single submission loss inside every single loss in the UFC has been a submission or ground up on TKO loss right there. But for this fight, she's not gonna really have to worry about the wrestling and grappling. That's what she's usually having to worry about. I mean, Jillian Robertson, really good grappler. Amanda Ribas, really good grappler, and then Polyana Viana, all very good grapplers, so I don't really mind her getting submitted by those girls, but none of that's going to happen against Hannah Goldie. Hannah Goldie is going to go out there, put on the pressure, look for some really big shots, because she's going to have that height and reach disadvantage. So just come forward, put on the pressure, put on that volume, and throw some big shots. And when Emily Whitmire's back to the cage, just start throwing, because she has some really solid power in her hands. Out of her 5 professional MMA wins, only 1 of them is a knockout, but believe me, she's a very powerful girl. I mean, if you look at those arms, she's very powerful. So get the fight to the back of the cage and throw big shots and look for that knockout. But again, I don't necessarily see a knockout from Hannah Goldie. Emily Whitmire is very solid at range, really fast, powerful front kicks to the body. Every now and then, if her opponent is small enough, she'll do the front kick to the face, Anderson Silva style, but that doesn't really happen too often. She also has the outside leg kick, the jab, the 1-2. That jab is going to land a lot in this fight. The straight right as well. That's the game plan. Emily Whitmire is going to go out there, stay on the outside, stay on the back foot, look for the jab as Hannah Goldie's coming in, keep on moving, circling to the outside over and over and over again, circling around the cage, keep on landing that jab, the 1-2, the leg kicks, that front kick to the body, and mix in takedowns. That's the main other thing I need for Emily Whitmire to do right here, because Hannah Goldie, of course, is going to be looking to go out there, put on the pressure, and look for some big shots. Emily needs to mix in the takedowns. She has pretty solid double leg takedowns and a pretty solid trip takedown as well. That is exactly what she needs to do, is go for the takedowns in the fight. So either way, even if the fight does stay on the feet, I'm going to go Emily Whitmire by a 29-28 decision. But now that she's going to be probably implementing the wrestling and grappling a little bit in the fight, maybe a little ground pound as well, it just furthers my prediction for Emily Whitmire. So I think she goes out there, keeps the fight at range, jab 1-2s, a little bit of front kicks to the body, leg kicks as well, knees in the clinch if it does go there, and then trying to mix in some of those takedowns as well, staying away from the pressure of Hannah Goldie en route to a decision win. So my prediction right there for Emily Whitmire and Hannah Goldie in the women's flyweight division is going to be Emily Whitmire by a 29-28 unanimous decision. But a very, very good fight in the women's flyweight division. Gustavo Lopez and Haley Alateng in the bantamweight division. This is going to be a very, very close fight. The height and the reach is very, very even. So is the skill right here. The striking is going to be super, super even. It's really going to matter on who mixes in the wrestling a little bit more and who can land a little bit more volume on the feet, though. But it is a very, very 50-50 fight on the Tapology predictions as well on the betting odds for this fight. Pretty 50-50 with Haley Alateng around a -120. Very, very slight favorite, but it's a very, very close fight. Haley Alateng is probably going to be on the back foot. I mean, I assume he's going to be on the back foot for sure, because Gustavo Lopez likes to go out there, put on that pressure, get your back to the cage, and land that big right hand. He goes out there, gets your back to the cage. He can just throw some crazy, crazy shots, uppercuts, overhand rights, left hooks, right hooks. Just really, really powerful shots and looking for that knockout blow. Gustavo, his main way of winning, putting on that pressure, getting your back to the cage, throwing the big shots, and getting the knockout in the first or second round. Before joining the UFC, he was on a 2-fight first-round knockout streak over Jose Aldo and Joey Ruquitz. Jose Aldo, who was recently on Dana White's Intended Series just a couple of days ago. So he's got a lot of power, but he needs to use it, come forward, and throw. Also, he's going to need to defend the takedowns of Haley Alateng, as he's going to be fighting on the back foot. Usually when you're fighting on the back foot, Gustavo's going to be coming forward with those big shots. He could overextend a little bit. Haley goes down for the double leg takedown or gets a body lock and gets a trip. That is one thing that Gustavo Lopez really needs to worry about, because Haley Alateng, those takedowns could be the thing that get him the win on the judges' scorecards. Just a couple of takedowns here and there can be the thing that gets him the win. But out of his 14 wins, 8 losses, and 1 draw. He has 4 knockout wins, 3 submission wins, and 7 decisions. I don't think he's going to finish Gustavo. Adrian Yanez knocked him out. Marab could not finish him. So many other guys couldn't really finish him. Yeah, John Castaneda, Andre Ewell. These are all very, very solid UFC caliber guys. And honestly, Haley Alateng and Gustavo Lopez, they're both pretty UFC caliber, but Haley Alateng isn't really the most powerful puncher, only like 4 or 3 knockouts in his career. So if we're going to see a knockout, it's going to be from Gustavo Lopez, getting Haley's back to the cage and throwing a big right hand and getting a knockout. But Haley needs to stay on the back foot, jab 1-2-1-2, maybe a little bit of leg case in the clinch, land some knees, and mixing the takedowns. But at range, when Gustavo's coming in, he usually likes to go for the left hook or the right hook and just circle onto the outside. But he likes to do these little flurries every now and then where he'll go for a jab, an uppercut, an overhand left, and then a straight left again. I mean, he does some very, very weird flurries. I'm not too sure what the exact punches he's doing on those flurries, but every now and then he does those flurries and ends them off with a takedown. That is going to be another weapon for Haley Alateng to definitely use right here. But he's definitely going to need to stay on the outside, stay on the back foot, keep on landing the left hook and right hook as he's coming in. Maybe some leg kicks at range, mix it in the takedowns, and every now and then put those flurries together and land that right hand right down the pipe, which is very, very powerful. But It's a very, very close fight. I think the striking is going to be very, very even. Gustavo's going to land the more powerful punches. Haley Alateng is going to land more punches in terms of volume and mix in the wrestling. So it can honestly go either way. Very, very 50-50 fight. But I am slightly leaning Haley Alateng with the mixing in of the wrestling and landing a little bit more volume with a jab, the 1-2 as he's coming forward. And mix it in the takedowns as well. So Haley Alateng, in my opinion, is going to win that fight by a 29-28 decision. But really good fight in the bantamweight division. Impa Kasanganay and Carlson Harris in the welterweight division. Impa Kasanganay, 9 wins and 1 loss. That only 1 loss to Joaquin Buckley. He was actually winning in that very first round, but as we all know, got caught with that spinning jump back kick in the second round right there. He was about to beat Joaquin Buckley, in my opinion, was outstriking him by just a little bit, but as we know, that spinning back kick, that infamous crazy back kick, knocked him out in the second round. But out of all of his other wins, he's shown very, very solid striking, puts on the pressure, comes forward, gets your back to the cage, and just starts throwing really, really big shots. He's very, very powerful, has a really good right hand down the pipe, really good right hook when your back is to the cage, and that uppercut is absolutely nasty. But right here, we saw in the last fight for Impa Kasanganay, he does have some good wrestling and grappling of his own, getting a submission on Sasha Balanikov and getting a lot of takedowns on Sasha Balanikov. Now, Sasha isn't necessarily the best wrestler or grappler, but he did pretty good in the fight and ended up getting the submission. So he's got some decent wrestling in him as well, and he's very, very strong. So the strength is what he's going to need to do right here. As Carlson Harris is coming in, look to land the uppercut and the right hook, but Carlson is going to be a little bit taller, a little bit lengthier, likes to stay on the outside, jab, overhand, a leg kick, body kick, and then eventually go for the double leg takedown, get the fight to the clinch, a body lock. He likes to kind of spread your knee out apart, kind of. He gets a body lock. Well, let me demonstrate a little bit. His opponent is going to be sort of like this, and he's going to push his leg to the inside and push this knee out, and then he's going to lean like that and trip him down like that. I don't know if that was necessarily a very good explanation on what he does, but he kind of pushes their inside knee outside, and then he pulls him down and trips him down, or he'll use that to get the back, and then he'll look for the rear naked or look to take you down that way. But the main gist of what I'm trying to say, if you did not understand anything I just did, is he's trying to get the fight to the clinch, body lock you, trip you down, or get the double leg takedown. But those are the ways he's trying. That's what he's trying to do. The clinch is where Carlson Harris wants this fight to be, but Impa Kasanganay is very, very strong, and he can definitely get out of the clinch. Christian Aguilera was able to get out of the clinch. The only reason Carlson ended up getting the submission is because Carlson caught him with I believe it was a left hook and then an overhand right, but he's not going to catch Impa Kasanganay. Impa's going to put on that pressure, land some big shots, and in my opinion, knock him out. But Carlson, if he's going to win right here, needs to get the fight to the clinch, get the body lock, and trip Impa Kasanganay down. But I don't see Impa getting taken down by Carlson Harris. I see Impa on the front foot, pressuring Carlson Harris's back to the cage, either landing an uppercut as his back to the cage or a right hook. Just put on the pressure, landing some big shots, and I do think Impa Kasanganay is going to knock out Carlson Harris in the first or second round, but it's a very, very good fight. If Carlson Harris is going to win, he's going to be on the back foot, of course, and he's going to have to go down for that double leg without getting caught with that uppercut from Impa Kasanganay, then clinch up, body lock, and take him down. But I don't think he's going to get the takedown, and I do think Impa Kasanganay keeps the fight on the feet, lands either a right hook or an uppercut, and ends up knocking out Carlson Harris in the first or second round. Really good fight in the welterweight division. Erin Blankfield and Sarah Alpar in the women's flyweight division, if I am saying that last name correctly right there. But Erin Blankfield, 6 wins and 1 loss, only 22.5 years old, same height, but an incredible 5-inch reach advantage right there. One of the biggest favorites on the card, except for Montel Jackson, and I believe one other guy, might be Armin Zaryukian as well, but she's a pretty big favorite in this fight over Sarah Alpar. I believe it was 3-1, but she's very young, has really good BJJ. I believe she has a black belt in BJJ as well. Going to be the lengthier fighter by 5 inches, which is absolutely amazing. Has a nasty head kick KO on a record over Victoria Leonardo a couple of fights ago, and she's got a good jab and 1-2. So on this fight, the wrestling of Sarah Arpar usually is what can get her the win. The grappling of Erin Blankfield can get her the win as well, but when you kind of see grapplers and wrestlers come against each other that are very even on the ground, it kind of nullifies each other. So I think the fight is going to kind of be nullified in terms of the wrestling and grappling. We'll see a little bit of clinch here and there, some knees, some right hands to the body, things like that, but mainly this fight will be staying on the feet. Sarah Alpar is probably going to be looking to come forward, land some big shots and go down for the takedown. Again, I don't think she's going to land that takedown. I see Erin Blankfield keeping the fight at range with her jab over and over and over again. Every time Sarah Arpar makes any sort of move to come forward on Erin Blankfield, jab her straight right and then exit on the outside. Maybe as Sarah Arpar is coming after her as she's exiting on the outside, she can throw that left high kick, which is just absolutely insane. I mean, over Victoria Leonardo, she caught her twice in the fight with the same kick, absolutely insane. But for this fight, I do think with the head kick, as she's leaving the outside, Sarah Alpar might honestly walk into one of those head kicks. But the jab, the 1-2, just stand on the outside, popping that jab in, popping that straight right in. I do think that's gonna be that's what's gonna allow her to get the win right here. I don't think she should be a 3-1 favorite because Sarah Alpar can definitely land the takedown. She can definitely out wrestle and out grapple. I don't think she will because Erin Blankfield has solid takedown defense and she has solid jiu-jitsu as well. So I don't see that happening. I see the fight staying on the feet and this being a kickboxing type of fight with Erin staying at range, the jab and a 1-2 and looking to land that head kick, but overall just winning the fight by 30-27, 30-27, and 30-27. Unanimous decision. But my prediction right there is going to be Erin Blankfield. Really good fight in the women's flyweight division. Montel Jackson and JP Buys in the bantamweight division. Montel Jackson needs to go out there and probably get the knockout. I mean, he doesn't necessarily need to, but the man is very, very powerful. Out of his 10 wins and 2 losses, 6 knockout wins recently, and crazy knockout win over Jesse Strader, where I believe he dropped him 3 times in that entire fight. Absolutely insane. He's got really good grappling, submitting Brian Kelleher, beating Andre Sugmanta, Felipe Colares, only losing to really, really good grapplers Enrique Simone and Brett Johns. Those are his only losses inside of the UFC and in his whole entire career. So I do think Montel Jackson will have the better wrestling and the better grappling than JP Buys, as well as the better striking. They're gonna have a crazy 5-inch height advantage right there, as well as, oh my god, 8.5-inch reach advantage. But JP Buys needs to go out there and look for that finish early because, again, this is another short notice fight. We were supposed to have Dana Botangero and Montel Jackson. I would have had Montel Jackson winning that fight. I'd go by decision. Dana Bottangero's pretty tough, but that fight's not going to happen. Now we got JP Buys, who just came off of a knockout loss to Bruno Silva with a counter right hand, and we know Montel Jackson, his last fight was a right hook, just as JP Buys just got knocked out by Bruno Silva. So it's a very, very interesting fight. JP Buys needs to come forward, put on the pressure, throw some really big shots, and look for that knockout early, but it's not going to happen. Montel, every single time JP makes any sort of movement forward to put on that pressure, put on that volume, Montel Jackson's going to 1-2 him, and if he gets too close, left hook and right hook. And I do think eventually as JP Buys comes in, he's going to catch him with another right hook and knock him out. I mean, if JP Buys is on the back foot, Montel Jackson is going to press him to the back of the cage and knock him out with a right hook. If JP Buys is on the front foot, he's going to get countered with a right hook just like last time. So, yeah, it's a very, very interesting fight, but it's, again, another short notice fight for JP Buys against Montel Jackson. So, Montel, he's just way, way better in every facet of the game. Jiu-jitsu, wrestling, in the clinch, with the knees, with the elbows, and then at range with a height, with the reach, a jab, the 1-2, and the right hook as he's coming in. So, my prediction, Montel Jackson landing a big right hook in the first or second round. Montel Jackson by knockout. Really good fight in the bantamweight division right there. Dakota Bush and Zhurong in the lightweight division. Zhurong with 17 wins and 4 losses. And he is 21 and a half years old. Absolutely insane. I'm going to have the height and reach at disadvantage, but I honestly don't know if I believe that, to be honest. I've looked at a picture of Zhurong and Dustin Poirier on Instagram. I don't know if it was a weird angle they took the picture at, but Zhurong looked a heck of a lot bigger than Dustin Poirier, who I believe is 5'9" tall. I'm pretty sure Zhurong is 5'11" tall and has the same reach as Dakota Bush. I don't know. It's very, very interesting on that picture that I did see of Zhurong and Dustin Poirier, but make with that what you want. But Zhurong Dakota Bush is going to be a very, very good fight. Very young fighter versus a kind of middle-aged fighter in the UFC lightweight division. He's not necessarily old, not necessarily young, but he does have some pretty solid wrestling and grappling skills. Out of his 8 wins and 3 losses, 4 submission wins, 2 knockout wins, and then 2 decision wins. Out of the losses, all 3 coming by decision to Bryce Logan, very good fighter in Bellator, Jaleel Willis, another very good fighter in Bellator, and Austin Hubbard in his first fight inside the UFC. Zhurong with a lot of wins. I believe he has a couple by knockout, 11 wins by knockout actually, 1 decision win, and then 4 submission wins. Out of his losses, 3 of them are by submission, which is where Dakota Bush is very, very good. So the main game plan I see for Dakota Bush, go out there, put some really big shots on the feet, and then go down for the double leg or body lock takedown, get the fight down, ground and pound, ground and pound, ground and pound, and look for the submission win in the first or second round. But the game plan for Dakota Bush is to wrestle and grapple, because we know that Zhurong has a lot of power on the feet, mainly with the straight punches, the jab, the 1-2, a little bit of right hooks, left hooks mixed in there as well, but mainly those straight punches are going to be what Zhurong uses. Not really a leg kicker, not really a body kicker, anything like that. If you look at the UFC stats, most of his punches and kicks are to the face. He's not really, he's mainly a head hunting type of fighter in this lightweight division. I do think Dakota Bush, if the fight does stay on the feet, it is going to be very, very 50-50. If Dakota Bush can land a couple of takedowns, I'm going to go to Dakota Bush to win the fight. But I have a feeling the fight will stay on the feet. Zhurong's takedown defense has looked pretty solid from the film that I have seen. I haven't found the most film on a couple of those China fights over there. They're very, very hard to find film on. But most of the film, I've seen some decent takedown defense on. So I do think the fight will stay on the feet. Dakota Bush might out-volume him with the leg kicks and body kicks, but Zhurong, he knows the main thing that got him the loss in the last fight with Rodrigo Vargas or Cutela Vargas was the lack of volume. So he needs to go out there, put on the volume, and just keep on coming forward with a lot of strikes. He's more powerful, he's faster than Dakota Bush. He just needs to up the volume. If he can up the volume, he's gonna win the fight. I don't think he's gonna get the knockout on Dakota Bush. He's never been finished, so I think the fight does go all the way. And I think Zhurong listens to those coaches and ups the volume right there. A lot of jabs, a lot of straight rights down the pipe, and wins a very, very close 29-28 decision, but very, very slightly right there. It's not a fight I'm super confident on Zhurong. I'm not gonna be super confident on Dakota Bush. It's definitely a 50-51, but I am leaning Zhurong because I know his coaches are probably screaming, up the volume, Zhurong, up the volume, because that last fight, it was pretty rough to watch. I mean, it was a pretty rough fight to watch right there. So up the volume, keep on landing those power shots, and just up the volume. That's all he really needs to do. So my prediction right there is going to be a Zhurong 29-28 decision. A really good fight in the lightweight division. Nate Maness and Tony Gravely in the bantamweight division. Nate Maness being a much taller and lengthier fighter in this bantamweight division at 5'10" tall, 72-inch reach right there. Absolutely amazing. Very similar in the age department, the record department. Tony Gravely has only lost to UFC caliber fighters. Brett Johns in the UFC, which was a pretty back and forth fight. Other than that, his other losses to Patchy Mix, a former Bellator bantamweight title challenger, Manny Bermudez, a UFC fighter, Murad Duelishvili, a UFC bantamweight contender, Ricky Bandejas, I believe a Bellator and UFC fighter, Paz Sabatini, another UFC fighter. So every single fighter that he has lost to has been UFC at Bellator level. I mean, he even knocked out Chris Moutinho right there, knocked out Ray Rodriguez, and they got those recent 2 wins in the UFC. So all the losses, pretty much all of his fights are very legit competition. Nate Maness, this fought some decent competition. 2 wins over Johnny Munoz Jr. and Luke Saunders. The Luke Saunders fight, his striking looked okay. Had a decent jab, decent 1-2, decent front kick, leg kicks, all that type of stuff. But Tony Gravely's pressure on the feet is going to be a lot better. And I do think he's going to be a better wrestler and grappler than Nate Maness. Now, Nate Maness, Obviously, he is a wrestler, has some pretty good wrestling credentials in his career, but Tony Gravely, I believe he averages 7 or 6 takedowns every single fight, had 10 takedowns on Geraldo the Free. That's absolutely insane, and has the power to come forward, throw some really big left hooks, right hooks, overhand rights, just some really big shots on the feet, get you back to the cage, double leg you, or clinch, take you down with that body lock takedown. So either way on the feet with the pressure, with those really big shots, and with the takedowns mixed in as well, I don't see many opportunities for Nate Menez to win, either by a submission from the bottom, or if he can somehow find a way to keep the fight at range, jab 1-2, stay on the outside, but it's not going to happen. I mean, even though the height and the reach is there, it's not going to be like these guys say. I mean, the main reason they're going for him to win the fight is because of the 13 wins and 1 loss record, and because of the height and the reach, but Tony puts on amazing pressure. We saw that in the last fight with that left hook knockout on Anthony Bert Shirt, and he mixes in the wrestling as well. So my prediction right here is going to be a Tony Gravely. I'm gonna go 30-27 decision. I think there's a good possibility we see a TKO win, but I'm gonna go a 30-27, 30-27, and 30-27 unanimous decision win in the bantamweight division. Really good fight in the bantamweight division right there. Pannie Kianzad and Raquel Pennington in the women's bantamweight division. 33 years old and 29 and a half years old. Similar height and similar reach. A slight reach advantage for Raquel Pennington. But Raquel Pennington, the game plan here is to clinch up, laying a buttload of knees to the body, because we saw in the Holly Holm fight, those knees to the body were very, very solid. I mean, she ended up losing the fight by unanimous decision, but before that, beat Miesha Tate, fought Amanda Nunes in a 5-round main event. Jarena Randami, all of these fighters that are in the top 5 of the bantamweight division, and she beat Irene Aldana by split decision right there. That is very, very impressive, but the main way she's going to win the fight on Pannie Kianzad is pressure, and mix in a couple of takedowns here and there. But Pannie Kianzad's takedown defense has shown to be pretty solid. She gets takedown 1 or 2 times, but isn't really controlled on the ground. Maybe 30 seconds in, she'll get the fight right back up on the feet. So I don't necessarily see the wrestling and grappling of Raquel Pennington really playing too much of a factor, but Raquel needs to come forward, put on pressure, left hook, right hook, uppercut, overhand rights, just some really big, powerful shots, and just put on that pressure on Pannie Kianzad en route to a unanimous decision. That is the main way I see Raquel Pennington winning, would be pressure and power striking. That is the main way I see her winning, but Pannie Kianzad throws a heck of a lot more volume than Raquel Pennington. Has a very fast jab over and over and over again, putting out that jab, the straight right, maybe a little bit of a front kick to the body. Doesn't really attack the legs with leg kicks. A couple of body kicks here and there. In the clinch, again, I'm going to give the advantage to Raquel Pennington, but can Raquel get the fight to the clinch? Yes, she will a couple of times here, but Pannie Kianzad does a very good job of just circling to the outside, stay on the outside, she put it in that jab, put it in that 1-2, and that is why it is a very, very 50-50 fight. If you look at the betting odds for the fight, I believe Raquel Pennington is going to be a very, 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 very slight favorite on the betting odds if we can look at it right now. Yeah, minus 130 for Raquel Pennington, and then plus 110 for Pannie Kianzad right there. At one point, the odds are minus 110, minus 110, which is exactly where I think the fight should be, minus 110 and minus 110, because if Raquel Pennington can put on that pressure, get the fight to the clinch, landing a lot of knees in the clinch, landing a lot of power shots in the clinch, and keep the volume very similar to the volume of Pannie Kianzad, Raquel Pennington is going to win. But can she put on that pressure, and can she keep the same volume as Pannie Kianzad? I am not too sure, because Pannie Kianzad at range on the back foot, putting in that jab, putting in that straight right hand, left hook as her opponent is coming in is very, very powerful. So it's a very, very close fight, but I think Pannie Kianzad is going to do a really good job of countering Raquel Pennington as she's coming in. Staying away from those clinch situations, landing straight down the pipe with the jab and the 1-2, and very, very slightly winning the fight by a unanimous decision, 29-28 on the judges' scorecards. That's not one I'm going to be super, super confident going for Pannie Kianzad. I'm not going to be super confident going Raquel Pennington, because either way, it's going to be a close fight. It's going to be a 29-28, probably a split decision. I would not be surprised, but I'm going to be very, very slightly leaning towards Pannie Kianzad, out-voluming Raquel Pennington, staying on the outside, out-countering Raquel Pennington as she's coming in, and winning the fight by decision. But really good fight in the women's bantamweight division right there. Tavon Chukwi and Mike Rodriguez in the light heavyweight division, 50-50 fight. Tavon Chukwi, did not look good in the last fight. Junyoung Park absolutely destroyed him in the wrestling and grappling. That was his first ever professional MMA loss. He's going to be a lot smaller in this fight as well, moving from the middleweight division to the light heavyweight division, which is a 20-pound differential in size. Mike Rodriguez is going to be a lot bigger in terms of size, in terms of height, having the 4-inch reach advantage, or sorry, the 4-inch height advantage and a 5.5-inch reach advantage right there. So this is going to be a very, very close fight. Tafon Chukwi needs to go out there, be kind of the guy that comes forward, throws some really big looping punches, trying to get that knockout early in that first round. Maybe throws that signature head kick that he got on Al Matavallo, but really big shots, and then get the fight to the clinch. Maybe attempt a couple of takedowns here and there as well, because we do know the wrestling and grappling game of Mike Rodriguez is his biggest weakness. I mean, against Danilo Marquez, Ed Herman, Daun Jung. I mean, not necessarily Daun Jung, but the other fights, Devin Clark, Ed Herman, and Danilo Marquez, the wrestling has been very, very bad. He got taken down a lot in all of those fights right there. So, Mike Rodriguez needs to stay out of the clinch situations of Tafon, because that is where he lands a lot of body shots in the clinch as well. In the clinch, if it does go there, Mike Rodriguez needs to land those knees to the body and land the elbows as Tafon Chukwi is coming in to get the fight to the clinch. And then as soon as he possibly can, exit that clinch situation. So, if Tafon's going to win, it's going to be going out there, throwing big shots on the feet, maybe landing a couple, clinching up, landing a lot of body shots, and landing a couple of takedowns on Mike Rodriguez. If the fight stays on the feet, in the clinch, I think it's very, very 50-50. I think Tafon might out-volume Mike Rodriguez in the clinch, but Mike will land the more powerful shots in terms of the elbows and the knees to the body. So it's going to be very even in the clinch. In the ground game, I'm going to give the advantage to Tafon Chukwi. But at range, of course, in the boxing, Mike Rodriguez will have the advantage with the jab, the 1-2, the front case of the body, the leg case, the body case. I think he's going to do a lot better at range in the striking game than Tafon Chukwi, and that is why it is a 50-50 fight, because in the clinch, with the wrestling, Tafon Chukwi can probably win the fight by a decision, or when he exits the clinch, landing a big shot. That could be the main way he's going to win, but at range in the striking, that is where I'm going to give a pretty good advantage to Mike Rodriguez, having the height, having the reach, having the jab, the 1-2, the front case, the body, the leg case, the body case, all of that type of stuff. So it's a very, very even fight. I'm going to go Mike Rodriguez. I am going to go Mike Rodriguez. Originally, I had Tafon Chukwi winning the fight, getting the fight to the clinch, mixing in the takedowns, and winning the fight that way. I still think that is a very viable a way for Tafon Chukwi to win the fight, but I think for the most part, this fight is going to be spent at range, and Mike Rodriguez is just going to outstrike him with the jab, the 1-2s, all of that type of stuff. So at range, I think Mike Rodriguez outstrikes Tafon Chukwi, keeps it very even in the clinch, defends the takedown on Tafon Chukwi, and very, very slightly wins the fight by a decision, but it's a very, very close fight. It's not one I'm going to be super confident on Tafon winning. I mean, originally I had Tafon, now I have Mike. I honestly don't know. I could honestly switch my prediction to Tafon in the next couple of days. It's a very, very close one. But for right now, I am going to go Mike Rodriguez to keep the fight on the feet at range and win the fight by a 29-28 unanimous decision. Really good fight in the light heavyweight division. Joaquin Buckley and Antonio Arroyo in the middleweight division. Antonio Arroyo, very tall, not too lengthy. I mean, only a 73.5-inch reach. Joaquin Buckley is a very lengthy fighter in terms of his height. I mean, it's very, very crazy that he is a 76-inch reach, having the 2.5-inch reach advantage while being 5 inches smaller than Antonio Arroyo. That's very, very interesting. But Joaquin Buckley in the fight, put on the pressure, put on that volume, come forward on Antonio Arroyo, get his back to the cage, essentially do the exact same thing he did at Jordan Wright right there, get his back to the cage, throw left hooks, right hooks, uppercuts, overhand rights, just some really powerful shots in the clinch and get the knockout. Antonio Arroyo needs the fight to stay at range, leg kicks, body kicks, jab and 1-2, and stand on the outside, staying away from that pressure, and the fact that, because if Antonio Arroyo's back is to the cage, he's going to get knocked out. Joaquin Buckley is going to knock out Antonio Arroyo if he gets the back to the cage. So Antonio needs to get the fight on the outside. Keep on moving, keep on moving, keep on moving. stay out of the clinch situations. If Joaquin Buckley gets a fight to the clinch, I'm sorry to say, Antonio Arroyo, you're going to go sleeping McGregor. Joaquin Buckley is going to do exactly what he did against Jordan Wright and knock you out in the first or second round. So keep the fight at range. He's got very fast, very powerful leg kicks, really fast, powerful jab, 1-2. The body kicks is devastating as well. He landed some really good body kicks in the last fight with Zhurong win. He's got a really good high kick. We do know Alessio Di Chirico did catch Joaquin Buckley with a good high kick in the last fight and knock him out in the very first round. So Antonio, kicking game is going to be the way to go right here. Body kicks, high kicks at range, jabbing a 1-2 and staying on the outside is what Antonio Arroyo needs to do. And Joaquin needs to put on that pressure, get Antonio's back to the cage and land a really, really big shot. So, personally, in terms of the betting odds, I do not agree with it. Right now, if I can find it, oh my gosh, where is it? Minus 200 for Joaquin Buckley, and then plus 180 for Antonio Arroyo. I personally think it's a lot closer of a fight because Antonio Arroyo, he has the kicks. I mean, we know the weakness of Joaquin Buckley is going to be the kicking game. As he's coming in, he likes to put on that pressure, and he could honestly walk into one of those body kicks or head kicks of Antonio Arroyo. Antonio Arroyo, if he can keep the fight at range, can definitely win. So it's a much closer fight than I see the betting odds have it, but I still eventually think Joaquin Buckley will get Antonio Arroyo's back to the cage, landing a really big left hook or right hook, maybe an overhand. I'm really not too sure what he's going to land, but I do think Joaquin Buckley is going to land a really big shot in the clinch and knock out Antonio Arroyo in the first or second round. A really good fight in the middleweight division. Arman Zhurong and Christian Zhang is in the lightweight division. Now, really, why did you look up this prediction? Come on, guys. Arman Zhurong is going to win the fight. I'm going to go by a 30-26 unanimous decision. I think he's going to absolutely dominate him in every facet of the game. He's 24, almost 25 years old. Going to have the reach advantage, not the height advantage right there. But in the striking, it's going to be very, very even. Arman Zhurong has a really good jab, overhand right as well. He has a really good double jab, even a triple jab that he's shown on Matt Frivola in the last fight. Just jab, jab, and another jab, and then the overhand right, and then he'll end it with a double leg takedown or one of those body lock clinch takedowns as well. But on the feet, he's got really good body kicks, leg kicks, jabs, 1-2s. But of course, that's not what he's known for. The striking is not what he's known for. But I still give him the advantage in the striking game. In the wrestling and grappling, I'm definitely giving him the advantage. Against Christian Zhang and then Sean Soriano, I mean, he got that submission in the second round, but I mean, he didn't look too good against Sean Soriano. Sean Soriano put up a pretty decent fight in that one. I mean, he's shown some pretty good wrestling, pretty good grappling in his career, but it's not going to be anything close to the wrestling and grappling of Arman Zhurong, whose only loss is to Islam Makhachev, and then one loss way back in 2015 right there. But the wrestling and grappling and the striking is going to go Arman Zhurong. On the feet, he's going to jab, overhand right him, leg kick, body kick him, and then go for the takedown, double leg or clinch body lock takedown. Wherever the fight goes, Arman Zhurong will have the advantage. So, very simple prediction in my opinion. I don't know what the betting odds are at right now. Probably like minus 1,000. I'm not too sure. Let's see if I can find them. Minus 600. That's very, very interesting. But yeah, minus 800 is a little bit too much because we do know Christian Zhang has some good wrestling and grappling of his own. But I mean, I don't blame the odds makers for having him as this big of a favorite. He's just way better in every facet of the game. So I'm gonna go Arman Zhurong by 30-26, 30-26, and 30-26 unanimous decision. A really good fight in the lightweight division. Nicolas Mota and Cameron Van Camp in the lightweight division. Cameron Van Camp needs this fight. I don't know what just happened there. Needs the fight to stay at range. Jab 1-2. He's going to be the taller fighter, the lengthier fighter, and had the better grappling. The age is very, very even at 28.5 for both fighters right there. But the height is going to be a 4-inch height advantage for Cameron Van Camp. The reach, I'm really not too sure. But from the looks of it, from the film that I have watched, it seems like Cameron Van Camp is around 73, 74 inches, somewhere around that range. But he's going to have the height, he's going to have the reach in my opinion. Needs the fight to stay at range, jab 1-2. And as Nicolas Mota puts in those really powerful shots as he's coming forward, Cameron needs to clinch up and then try to get a hold of Nicolas Mota's head and look for a guillotine. Look to get the fight to the ground as soon as possible, because if the fight stays on the feet for too long, Nicolas Mota is going to knock him out. I mean, Nicolas, I believe, has 9 knockout wins on his career so far. 8 knockout wins, 5 decision wins right there. Out of the losses, 2 knockout losses and 2 submission losses right there, which is very, very interesting. But, For this fight right here, Cameron needs to get the fight at range, jab 1-2, use the height, use the reach, have Nicolas Mota come to him with those really big, powerful punches, and then look to get the takedown, or look to just grab a hold of the neck, grab a hold of something. I mean, just grab a hold of anything, maybe even pull guard. I want to see, why not? Cameron Van Camp needs the fight to go to the ground, because again, if the fight stays on the feet for too long, Nicolas Mota has a very powerful left hook, overhand right, uppercut. I mean, all those powerful punches, and he's very, very fast as well. So the fight's going to stay at range. Nicolas is going to keep on stalking Cameron Van Camp. Again, it is a short notice fight for Cameron Van Camp on 1 week's notice. I think Nicolas Mota is going to go out there, put the pressure on Cameron Van Camp, get his back to the cage eventually, and land a left hook, right hand, overhand right hook, uppercut. I really don't know. It's going to be something powerful. It's going to be something spectacular, and I do think Nicolas Mota will knock out Cameron Van Camp in the first or second round. But Cameron, he needs to fight to stay at range. He needs to use the wrestling and grappling. But again, Nicolas Mota has very, very good takedown defense. In the fight with Joe Selecki right there, he knocked out a very, very good grappler in Joe Selecki, who's already ranked as a top 30 fighter in the lightweight division, and knocked him out cold in the third round right there. And defending the takedowns very, very well. So I don't think the fight's gonna stay on the ground with the wrestling and grappling. I think the fight stays on the feet, and the more powerful, the faster striker in Nicolas Mota is gonna get the knockout in the first or second round, coming forward with some really, really big shots. But my prediction: Nicolas Mota by knockout in the first or second round. Really good fight in the lightweight division. Ian Cutela and Devin Clark in the light heavyweight division, the co-main event for UFC Fight Night Smith versus Spann. Now, both fighters are really doing too good recently. Devin Clark got submitted in the very first round by Anthony Smith in a 5-round main event. Ian Cutela got a draw on Dustin Jacoby, and he fought an absolute beast in Magny and got knocked out in both of them. Now, one of them wasn't necessarily a knockout, of course, against Magny, but still, he ended up losing both of those fights right there, and lost the fight to Glover Teixeira, but he beat Khalil Roundtree with the wrestling and grappling. The wrestling game of Devin Clark is what he needs to do. Go out there early in the first round, takedown, use the wrestling, ground upon the heck out of Ian Cutela, but I don't think he's going to be able to do that in the first round when Ian Cutela is fresh and the cardio has not kind of worn off for Ian Cutela. So Devin Clark needs to out-wrestle Ian Cutela in the second and third round. The first round, Ian will keep the fight on the feet. Way more powerful, the height and the reach is very, very even. Ian's going to be coming forward with the left hook, the straight right, or the overhand right, and probably get the knockout in the first round, or maybe get the knockout in the second round. But ultimately, if the fight does go all the way, and we do see a decision win for Ian Cutela or Devin Clark, the first round, no matter what, in my opinion, is going to go Ian Cutela. He's way more powerful, he's way faster. Devin Clark is honestly going to do this, kind of do the Alistair Overeem shelling up thing, and Ian's probably maybe going to knock him out in the first round, but no matter what, I do think Ian Cutela is going to win that first round. The third round, I think Devin Clark is, no matter what, going to win that third round due to the cardio of Ian Cutela later on in the fight. It's really going to come down to that second round. Can Ian Cutela, can his cardio withstand that second round, and can he defend the takedowns as well in that second round? Because the third round, his cardio is going to come in, and he's going to not be able to defend the takedowns of Devin Clark. But in the first round, he will. The second round, I'm not too sure, but I think he's going to win the first round. The second round, he's going to land some really big shots and defend most of the takedowns. So it's going to be a very, very close second round right there. But I do think Ian Cutela he's going to land some really big shots on the feet, defend most of the takedowns in that second round, and win the first round and win the second round by losing the third round, and win the fight by a 29-28 decision. He's got better striking, he's got really solid wrestling as well, but the cardio in the later rounds is going to make his wrestling a lot worse. But I think his cardio is gonna sort of give out towards the end of that second round. I think it'll kind of stay there for the beginning to middle of that second round. So I think it'll withstand the second round at least. He'll win the first, he'll win the second, with the striking game, with the really powerful, really big shots, putting on that pressure on Devin Clark. But the third round, Devin Clark will win. So it's a very close fight in the light heavyweight division. But I think Ian Cutela will win the first and second round and win the fight by unanimous decision. But very, very close fight in the light heavyweight division right there. Anthony Smith and Ryan Spann in the light heavyweight division. 5 rounds in the main event of UFC Fight Night Smith versus Spann. And I'm going to say it right now. Originally, like a couple of weeks ago, I was planning on doing a parlay with Anthony Smith and a couple of the other bigger favorites on the fight card right here. But now, I'm not too sure. I mean, I watched the fight with Jimmy Crute a couple more times. Jimmy Crute did land a good takedown on Anthony Smith towards the end of that round, with the fact that his calf was absolutely destroyed from that leg kick on Anthony Smith. That leg kick was very, very solid, but he's going to have a little bit of a height disadvantage and a little bit of a reach disadvantage. Ryan Spann has very, very solid wrestling. Let's go out there, get the fight to the clinch, look for the double leg or clinch, body lock takedown sort of thing, but Anthony Smith needs to go out there, put in that jab. That jab against Jimmy Crute was absolutely amazing. Jab, 1-2, stay on the outside, leg kick, body kicking, keep on moving on the outside, keep on moving on the outside, and do not get taken down by Ryan Spann. But the fact that I'm not necessarily thinking of doing another parlay with Anthony Smith right now, it's because he got taken down fairly easily on Jimmy Crute, and we saw the fight with Alexander Rocky with Glover Teixeira, even the fight with Devin Clark, he got taken down fairly easily in every single one of those fights. Ryan Spann does have some very solid wrestling and grappling of his own, so it kind of worries me of the wrestling and grappling for Anthony Smith and Ryan Spann. That's why I do think it is going to be a much closer fight. I'm still going to go Anthony Smith to win the fight. He's still a -165 favorite, right where I think it should be, but I think Ryan Spann has a little bit better wrestling. Sorry about that. Has a little bit better wrestling and could definitely mix it in and win the fight that way. But on the feet, he's got a really good left hook. He caught Misha Kirganov in the last fight with a really good left hook, and then I believe it was a right cross. I believe. I don't know. I believe he had a left hook at first, which caught Misha Kirganov. Then he got the right cross later because he knocked down Misha Kirganov, I believe 2 or 3 times in the fight. But Ryan Spann needs to go out there, jab 1-2, keep the fight at range, and as Anthony Smith is coming in, land that left hook and then the right hand right down the pipe or the overhand right. He needs to fight to stay at range, keep the volume even on the feet, and mix in the takedowns. But it's a very, very close fight. Ultimately, I am going to go Anthony Smith to win the fight, but just going out there, out-voluming Ryan Spann for 5 straight rounds. Now, will he necessarily win every single round? No, I don't think so. I think Ryan Spann can definitely win 1 round, possibly win 2 rounds, but I don't think he's going to win 3 rounds right here. Anthony Smith has the speed advantage. Doesn't have the reach advantage right there, but he does have the speed advantage. In my opinion, has the volume advantage in terms of striking, because he's going to have the leg case, the calf case, the body case, the jab, the 1-2s. So I think he's going to out-volume Ryan Spann on the feet very, very slightly, and if he can defend the takedowns, which I do think he will, I'm not too confident in that one, because Ryan Spann does have good wrestling, and Alexander Rocky, the Glover Teixeira fight was not too good in Anthony Smith getting taken down fairly easily, but overall I think the fight does stay on the feet. Anthony Smith keeps the fight at range, keeps on popping to that jab 1-2, leg case, body case, and wins the fight by a decision, but it's a very, very close fight. I am going to go the fight to go all the way. If Ryan Spann is going to win, I think it's probably going to be a knockout or a ground upon TKO in the 2nd or 3rd round. If Anthony Smith is going to win, it's going to be him just outstriking Ryan Spann very slightly in most of the rounds right here. So my prediction is going to be Anthony Smith, 48-47 on the judges' scorecards, but a very, very close fight in the light heavyweight division. Again, it's a very, very slight lean towards Anthony Smith, just out volume with a jab, with a straight right, with the leg case and body case. So it's a very close one, but I am going Anthony Smith by unanimous decision right there. Really good fight in the light heavyweight division. We have 15 fights on the entire fight here right there. The main event, I get Anthony Smith winning that fight right there. I get Ian Cutela winning that fight. Nicolas winning that fight. Mandy Bohm winning that fight very, very slightly. Christian Jacques was losing that fight, of course. Joaquin Buckley winning that one. Mike Rodriguez winning that fight. Penny Chianza winning that fight. Tony Gravely winning that fight. Zhurong winning that fight right there. Montel Jackson winning that one. Aaron Blankfield winning that one. Impa Gazanganai winning that fight. Haley Alonzo winning that fight, and Emily Whitmire winning that fight right there. A lot of really good fights for UFC Fight Night Smith versus Spann. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those post and notifications so you guys get notified for when I post a new video. But thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Let's go.